Welcome back to America Decides. President-elect Trump says he has a mandate. How big? How long-lasting? Well, guess what? Some states across the country, dominated by Republicans, have already decided that was a big mandate, and they're going to pursue initiatives and plans they think are symbolically, significantly aligned with the oncoming Trump administration. A new Washington Post piece finds that, quote, red state leaders emboldened by Donald Trump's presidential victory are not waiting for him to take office to advance more conservative agendas at home. Washington Post national correspondent Molly Hennessy-Fiske is here now to talk to us about that. So, Molly, it's great to have you with us. Thank you for joining us. By my count, there are 23 trifecta Republican states, and in Kansas, a Republican supermajority can override the Democratic governor's veto there. What does this mean? What does this mean for the array of state initiatives and legislative maneuvers that we're going to see play out very soon?
Well, as you mentioned, we have these Republican trifectas in states like Texas, where I'm based. I'm coming to you from Houston. And they're already gearing up. They're all going back into session in the new year. And a lot of them have already proposed legislation and are working to forward that legislation even before President Trump takes office. So it's on all sorts of different subjects, from so-called school choice, which has to do with taking taxpayer money and giving it back to parents who want to homeschool or send their kids to private schools. There's other measures that have to do with gun rights, with voting rights, with LGBTQ issues, gender-affirming care. So across the board, and certain states are kind of leading the effort, especially Florida and Texas.
And the states that are leading those efforts, what do they expect to get from the Trump Justice Department? Support?
Yes. Well, I was talking to some of the conservative advocacy groups, especially legal advocacy groups, who really see things shifting in places where, like, for instance, gender-affirming care or restrictions on transgender students participating in sports that don't align with their gender identity, like transgender athletes in girls or women's sports, that they see these areas where the Biden administration and the Department of Justice have fought conservative states' efforts. They see the Trump administration just basically abandoning those lawsuits and letting the states take control.
And Molly, let's talk about education. You mentioned taking some of the taxpayer money, giving it to parents for either homeschooling or charter or private schools. What about curriculum? What about books in libraries?
That's right. So there's school choice, but then, as you mentioned, there's separate efforts to allow parents or individuals to sue school districts or schools over things like books and curriculum, gender ideology, DEI, CRT, these different culture war issues that have come up in the schools. And I talked to some of the groups, conservative groups involved in that, like Moms for Liberty, who see the Trump administration as being a real ally, and they're working with state level groups in proposing legislation, putting out model legislation. They see Florida as this incubator of ideas that they're trying to replicate in other states like Oklahoma or North Carolina.
And Molly, based on your reporting, do these states feel that not only can they move in this direction, and if there are federal lawsuits trying to block them, the composition of the Supreme Court will work to their favor?
Not just the composition of the Supreme Court, but also other federal judges that Trump had appointed in the past. There's a lot of judgeships that have been filled by Trump and other Republicans. And so they feel like these conservative groups and state lawmakers feel like they have a lot of allies in the courts now, and that they'll be able to move things forward with the help of some pretty aggressive state attorneys general. We saw Tennessee's attorney general argue before the Supreme Court recently against gender-affirming care, and Texas's attorney general has been coming out as an activist on a lot of these issues.
Molly, I remember in my civics classes, it was described as states being these incubators of democratic experimentation. It was described to me in those classes as kind of a virtue. If I read your article correctly, this experimentation is going to be in hyperdrive.
Oh, for sure. And it's interesting you mentioned physics because or civics, because that's one of the things
Yeah.
they're trying to promote is more civics education and less education about some of these political or politically oriented ideas. They want to promote teaching anti-communism. That Florida has already passed that, and other states are trying to pass that. So a lot has to do with the control of ideas and education and what kids are allowed to learn.
Coming to us from Houston via Zoom, Molly Hennessy-Fiske, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.